Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to Sondering Tarot. And if you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. We are going to go ahead and do a quick flip through of the gold foil tarot. And just to let you know up front, this is a knockoff deck. It is actually a copy of I do believe it's called the Borderless Vintage Tarot that has been reprinted. And of course, you're probably asking, well, why did you buy a knockoff deck? I bought a knockoff deck for a reason and a purpose, and part of that is the cardstock. So I will literally show you something you'll probably never see another tarot reader do with their cards, and that's one of the reasons why I bought this deck. So let's pace ourselves here and get into the deck a little bit. Before we get to that, I have this lovely piece of Sodalite on mine. Not a requirement of the deck. It does have gold foiling on it. Simple magnetic box. Let's enjoy the journey and explore all the possibilities of the world of tarot. Nice magnetic box. I will warn you, the cardstock is very slidey. You'll set it down and it will slide. Well, that one's not too bad. That actually kind of stayed in place. Here are the backings. Very holographic, very gold. And the other side is as well. Like I said, this is a knockoff deck, and if I remember right, the Borderless Vintage Tarot, the backings are the same. It's just they're not holographic. Neo Tarot Collection Guide. They did a series of these. It does come with a little guidebook where you do have history of the tarot. So this is a RWS clone. Upright and reverse of the majors. And then the minors get a description as well as meanings upright and reverse. Kind of like a little Scarabeo guidebook. But what we really want to talk about here is the deck itself. Like I said, holographic, very holographic. But the reason why I bought this deck and knew it was a knockoff deck, and I got it from Amazon, was the cardstock. These are extremely thin, but the cardstock is the important part. So here's my prop, which is a glass of water. And please don't scream, but here's something that you probably never see anybody who owns tarot cards do. Yeah, we're just going to dunk this a couple times. I could leave that in there all day and no damage. This deck is plastic. The cardstock is plastic, hence why it's super slidey and super thin. If you've ever had a regular playing deck of cards that's on plastic cardstock, you know they kind of go everywhere, and this deck does too. But I could sit here and dunk this again repeatedly as many times as I want, and there is no damage. I bought this with the intention of, hey, if I go to a beach trip and I want a tarot deck that isn't going to get damaged, I want a deck for that. I'm a firm believer that every single person, and as you can see, I got water everywhere all over my background tapestry. I'm a firm believer in that every single person should have at least one deck that is waterproof. And of course, a lot of cardstock that a lot of people use and produce in is not waterproof. Finding a waterproof deck is not always easy, or if you do find it, half the time it is very pricey. So I didn't care if this was an RWS clone. I didn't care that, it was a knockoff if they changed by making it totally holographic, which is very flashy, by the way. I will try to show you as much of the artwork as I physically can without the glare. That's going to be a challenge. But I purposely bought this because the cardstock is plastic. I can take this to the bar and let drunk people, spill whiskey and beer and everything else on it. And basically I take a glass of water and dunk each card and wipe it off, and it's good to go. They're not sticky anymore. They're clean and they're still usable. I can take this into the bathtub or the shower and do a reading and not have to worry about if any table or structure that I'm using for the cards will not hold the cards. If they end up in water, it's fine. So, you know, if I take a bath, I don't have to worry about knocking a card off the table and having it be the end of the world. I'm still able to go forward and use it that way because it is waterproof. So say what you want about knockoff decks. Say what you want about getting decks from places like China or anything like that. I purposely went out and bought this because I knew what the cardstock was. It was an RWS clone. Yes, it was a knockoff of somebody else, and they've changed it with the holographic background. But I purposely bought it for the cardstock. And I like it for the cardstock, because I can go places with it that I can't take a normal deck. As I said, I do believe every single person should have a waterproof deck somewhere in their collection, and this happens to be the one and only one that I have currently in my collection of, what, 50 to 60 some decks currently at the time I'm filming this, that is waterproof. And for those of you that are hopefully still not screaming after watching me dunk a tarot card in a glass of water, we are going to do a quick flip through. You're going to be able to see all the art. I will try to keep as much glare off of it as humanly possible, given that it's fully holographic. And I will not be giving any commentary on the cards as well. If you'd like to see something closer as we flip through, please hit pause. And I will show you how this shuffles after we are done with the flip through for the artwork. So let us begin. And I think we're probably going to have to go clear over here with it, just so you can see it. Alright, and that's the last of the cards. As you can tell, it's an RWS clone. I mean, the traditional symmetry is there. And the holographic background does have some texture going in different directions depending on what was on the card. So sometimes you see, you know, outward shimmering lines. Sometimes you get this texture part. Sometimes you get blocks. Sometimes you get, you know, circles. And as you probably noticed as I was going through, at one point I did have cards starting to slide. My other pile over here was not exactly straight. And it's because even putting cards down, sometimes they, see, like that, they continue to slide. And the first time I took this deck out of the box, I didn't realize how slick this cardstock was really going to be, how thin the cards were, and I ended up losing basically the entire deck out onto the floor and had to put it back in order. And sometimes even when I forget that this is plastic and it loves to slide, slip and slide everywhere, I will sometimes still dump it on the floor. But this is a standard size deck. Pretty much, and because it is plastic, riffle shuffling is easy, even for my small hands. I mean, I can totally bend this really easy, and it'll fall right back into place because it is plastic, but they are super thin, so the thickness of the tarot deck is not as much as other cardstock would be, but it does have the tendency to slide really, really easy. Whether you were just sitting it down in a pile, it does make for, like how I'm shuffling now, really smooth sliding, but as you can see, that just went kind of everywhere. It didn't stay in one overlapping chunk because it wants to slide in all directions. Let me try. Yeah, that is a side shuffle, and that is halfway across the table now. Hold on. So, as I said, slipping and sliding everywhere. Part of that is all the cardstock, because it is plastic. Now, will this be a deck for everyone because it is plastic cardstock? Maybe. Will it be good for everyone to shuffle? Depends on how you shuffle. I mean, if you side shuffle like I just did, pretty much the entire deck just went this way across the table. So beware, because a lot of this, see, I just set it down, and away it goes. So this is kind of a problematic deck, but at the same time, it is a deck I bought with purpose. I bought it for the cardstock. I bought it for being able to take it places that I don't normally go. Was it a cheaper deck? Yes. Was it a knockoff deck? Yes. Is it an RWS clone? Yes. But this is a deck that, to me, is more, I suppose you would say, disposable. I mean, if I were to lose this deck, it would not break my heart. And most of the time, if this deck would leave my home, like I said, I'd be going to like the beach or the bar, or taking it into the bathroom, etc. Someplace where there would be water, someplace where I'd need to protect the cards. So this deck, say what you will about it, this deck fills a certain need in my collection, and that is, I need a deck that is waterproof. And I admit, with the holographic backgrounds and stuff for the whole entire cards and the deck, this could probably trip quite a few people out if I were to take it to a bar. Can you imagine drunk people trying to look at this for a deck and doing a reading for them? I mean, they wouldn't even have to be stoned or anything, just drunk. That I might actually be hilarious to test. But what do you think? Worth it? Not worth it? I mean, do I have a valid point with the cardstock, with it filling a need in the collection that everyone should have a waterproof deck? Yay or nay? I realize it's a knockoff deck. Even when I bought it, I knowingly bought it. I also dunked it in a glass of water, so if you did end up screaming, please let me know, because I'm probably sure I startled a few of you, because that's not exactly something normally we do with tarot cards. But anyway, my lovelies, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.